Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review post-match reaction video live from a freezing cold Ibrox as Rangers survive a bit of a scare from St Mirren late on to secure 3 big points with regards to the title race. Goals in either half. The first coming from Tello Asgard, a header from a Jayden Magoma cross from a short corner, which was good to see. That's 2-2 for the Scouse Norwegian. He rose well to nod the ball past Shamal George. And then goal number 2 arrived. An unlikely source, you could say. Yusuf Chermiti, who was excellent tonight, I thought, across from the left-hand side onto Emmanuel Fernandez, and he just tapped it through the legs of the St Mirren goalkeeper. Then was it a penalty given to St Mirren, despite nobody knowing what the nerve was going on. The VAR check, Fernandez claimed to have had, it showed that the ball struck his arm. The referee pointed to the spot, but Marcus Fraser's penalty was saved by Jack Butland because that's what he does. However, St Mirren did get a goal shortly after, a header from Mandron, poor defensively from Rangers from a corner. But they managed to hold on and secure the 3 points, Jonny. And it's a big night with regards to the league because, as we all expected, Celtic were in for a bit of a game tonight against Motherwell at Fir Park. The result has just been confirmed. The Steelmen have won by 2-0. So Rangers close the gap on Celtic to 3 points and close the gap on Hearts to 6 points. You're in the gantry. What do you make of it all?
Well, first of all, Derek, apologies if this is shorter than normal and my answers are more clipped than normal, because the technical term for what I am right now is freezing my bollocks off. It is absolutely Baltic here at Ibrox, and it's one of those ones where you want to get out of this weather as quickly as possible. Listen, It's a huge night, I think, and everyone, I think, at this game in this ground felt that. There is a sort of shifting of the Teutonic plates. I did say, Derek, after that loss to Hearts, that I did not think this title was over, this league was over by any means, because we've got 3 teams that aren't very good battling it out. And I think also in the Scottish Premiership, you've got a number of teams that are capable of just taking points. I think you saw that even tonight. Rangers maybe, first half I thought were pretty good. Second half maybe rode their luck a little bit, and it was slightly backs to the wall. But do you know what? It was a gritty, determined performance, wasn't it? It was full of passion. They worked their backsides off for each other. There was one moment about the 60th minute where Gassama played an awful, silly, sloppy ball back, and I think it was 4-on-3. And the Rangers players just got back behind the ball so quickly, so organised, desperately working for each other. And, this squad might not be very good, Derek, but the one thing you've got to say about Danny Rule since he came in, he's got them working their backsides off for each other. He's got them organised. You can't ask for any more than that. And I'll tell you what, 6 points, absolutely remarkable. Remarkable where we are. Yep. This Old Firm game's going to be tasty. It's going to be interesting. Celtic tonight, by all accounts, getting battered at times by Motherwell. I'm looking forward to watching that one and catching up with what sort of a game that's been, because just looking at some of the tweets that are out there and some of the commentary coming in from the game at Fir Park, it looks like Celtic were given a bit of a battering. So, listen, that's another 3 points gained against Hearts in terms of that game in hand that Rangers had, that they had, which they no longer have. And, this is very, very much back in play.
Yep, it absolutely is. And, Wilfred Nancy getting it in the neck again from the Celtic fans, despite 2 back-to-back wins. As Thierry Henry said, though, let him cook is what I say. But momentum is huge in football, and Rangers go into that game at Parkhead with 2 wins under their belts after that disappointing day at Tynecastle. And you're quite right to point out, Danny Rose certainly, he's got Rangers hard to beat again, and they're functional now. They look like they look more of a team than they did a few months ago, and players are starting to show what they're all about. As I touched on there, Tello Asgard with the opener, Jonny. You've said it before. There's a player in there with Tello. We all know he's got his qualities. Just at times, games seem to pass him by. I'd imagine he'll be starting it at the weekend, but he has got talent in there, and we're starting to see maybe little glimpses of that. I thought he took his goal well. Good header from a Magoma cross, and that was a good, decent display from him.
Yeah, listen, tell Asgard, as I've said many times before, he's got to prove that he's got the heart to be a Rangers player, because he's got the feet.
Exactly.
There's no doubt about that. There's a player there. You can see he's got the quality. He's a big physical lad. If you can put it all together, there is something there. And, you know, the other one that I feel that about, Derek, we were talking about it at half-time amongst the guys here, like Fernandes as well. I mean, if he actually puts together the elements of his game that are good, geez, what a player Rangers are going to have. The thing is, he's just a bit lax. He's got that.
Yeah.
And watching him here in the flesh tonight, you really, you know, you see it close up, and you see he's got this tendency to just be a little bit lax.
Yeah.
And if he's just to add a little bit of concentration to his game, then he's got all the physical qualities. He's a powerhouse. He looks like he loves the physical battles in the Scottish game, and I absolutely think there's something there as well. So a really good night. And Jack Butland, again, I was pretty critical of him. I think we all were, Derek, after the Hearts game. He's let that shot from Shanklin slip underneath him. But another penalty save, Derek, and you know, how many saves has he made from the penalty spot for Rangers? It's
mad.
Phenomenal record. Listen, it was a terrible penalty. Let's not beat about the bush. It was really poor, but he goes the right way and he gets down and he makes a save, and it's a crucial point and a crucial save, because we know what happened after that with St Mirren getting that goal through Mandron. And this is a night where Rangers can look back and say the transfer window's next, Celtic's next, that takes care of itself. But what an opportunity to be back in a league title race that I don't think anyone really honestly felt that Rangers were in, but they are in it.
Yeah. A few points there. First of all, just on the penalty, ridiculous. Why are we giving spot kicks when nobody's claiming for handballs? It really is an absolute joke. But fair play to Jack Butland. He did well to palm that one away. A few points coming in about your state, Jonny. Colin says, poor Jonny looks freezing. He absolutely does.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong, let me tell you. I think it must be negative. It must be -3, -4, something like that. It is absolutely freezing.
Well, put it this way, Jonny, I'm too warm in my house that I had to turn down the heating. So from one extreme to the other, I'm sweating here. But there you go. Tom Green with the point says, a very good performance considering what Russell Martin has left us with. Pleased for Chermiti, who worked his ass off. Yes, that was easily his best game in a Rangers jersey for me. I thought he linked up well. It was a handful for St Mirren, and then we touched on there his ball in for Fernandes was fantastic. Really perfectly weighted ball onto Manny at the back post, and that'll do him the world of good now. I, like many others, would like to see a lot more goals from him, but from where he was, that's much more like it, Jonny. I'd imagine, well, Biofsky wasn't part of the squad tonight because he's unwell. I think he's got the flu. I guess he's in for a shout of starting on Saturday, you would imagine.
Yeah, listen, I thought Chermiti again, and this was throughout the team, Derek, and this is a club that really, it does reward what I'm about to talk about, which is just hard graft. Yeah. The fans here noticed that. And Chermiti today, I thought he had a couple of really good moments of quality as well, but he never stopped running, Derek. And you know, he's gone through a tough time. He's been under a lot of scrutiny. He's just a young lad. But you can go quite far by doing all the basics right. You know, you can become, you can get yourself on the good side of the fans here if you show that you bleed for that jersey and for that badge. I remember a guy called Philip Sebo that didn't have a lot of talent, Derek, but, you know, he became a bit of a cult hero. Because he just worked hard. Chermiti is a guy, for me, Rangers will need to get someone else in to give them the cutting edge that they require.
Yeah, I agree.
But if you're talking about a guy that's a project, well, at least you're seeing the kind of the elements that make you think there might be something there. It's taken a bit of time, but I thought tonight there was stuff there, and it's good to see it finally because it's been a while. But the one thing I'll say about him, he's working. and that'll take you where you need to go if you add some quality and sprinkle that stardust on top of that.
Yeah, there's a comment that came in saying the sort of game changed when he went off. Rangers never really had that focal point when Danilo came on, but they were resolute defensively and they managed to see it out. So fair play to them for that. And it's a big 3 points. Nico Raskin was much better tonight, I thought, as well. Mikey Moore, I mean, he's Rangers' most creative outlet. When he's on the ball, he just glides through place. I certainly enjoyed his shot, his audacious attempt in the first half, Jonny, when Chermiti was sort of poleaxed on the edge of the penalty area, went to jump for a ball. The ball fell kindly to Moore. It was almost Marco van Basten-esque from the Euro 88 back in the day when he hit that wonderful shot over the German goalkeeper, I think it was. Or was it the USSR goalie at the time? But it was almost reminiscent of that. But it's a boy full of confidence. He's going to try.
That's high praise, Derek. That's one of the best goals I've ever seen in my entire life. Maybe the best. I absolutely loved Marco van Basten, as everyone that's my age and saw him did, because he was an incredible player. But it was a great moment of skill. But I think the thing is here tonight, Derek, it just underlines what an incredible job Danny Röhl's done. St Mirren are a team that I think would have won all day long against Russell Martin's Rangers.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an easy win tonight by any means. It was hard fought, but the players put their bodies on the line for it. They got themselves back into position every time they needed to. And it was just determined and gritty and just full of the kind of the dig that is required in these games. Do the dirty stuff, do the hard stuff well. Yeah. And I thought they did all that. And that is just such an enormous change from the Martin era, where you were just tearing your hair out at the lack of the basics, the basic standards that are required. And listen, no one should get carried away. Rangers need to go out and spend some money. But if there was maybe a wee inkling after that Hearts game, Derek, that the season had gone, well, here we are, not much later, and this season has taken another massive twist and turn. And you've got to look at it and think, spend money in the right way in January, spend it in a focused way, bring in quality, hopefully bring in a couple that know the club or know the league or can deal with that, and add some leadership to this squad, because I think that's desperately needed. Some experience and leadership in there alongside some of the talented young guys that are there. And you just never know, Derek. You never know, because Celtic are certainly no great shakes. And I think Hearts are a team that have never really gone for a title before. They don't have a lot of title winners on that squad in terms of the experience required to get over the line. So it's all there. It's all there. And I almost just can't believe that I'm saying it, because I just didn't think that Rangers would ever get back into this position. But it's all credit to the manager. I know he's had some doubters. Never on this show, I don't think. I think we've always said that based on what he had at his disposal, he was doing incredible things. And another terrific win tonight, and a massive boost going in ahead of this game at the weekend. And it's the pressure is absolutely monumental on Celtic for that game now, and on Wilfred Nancy. That's 5 games he's lost. That's the worst, I think, the worst calendar year in many a year for Celtic, if not the worst in the last 40 or something like that. I need to check the stats book, but I think it's 19 defeats for them. So really winding their sails stuff going to Parkhead, and I think everybody will be tuned into that game and expecting a classic.
I don't think Rangers should be worried about going there, that's for sure. It'll be interesting to see if both teams incidentally look to strengthen before that game. I know Andrew Kavanagh in attendance again tonight at the game. He'll certainly be enthused by what he's seen now from Danny Röhl and that team. Very much in it. And I'd imagine, well, Danny Röhl did say after the game against Motherwell, didn't he, that he's looking for Rangers to be to be brave in the transfer market. So, I think that the title is there. If I think it's important Rangers recruit well in January, then I don't think there's any reason why they cannot go on a challenge at the business end of the season, which is remarkable considering where they were, you've got to say. But it's a 3-horse race for me, and it's certainly a big night for Rangers. Some interesting points coming in. A lot of criticism for Tav, Jonny, for leading up to St Mirren's goal. Again, he's a player that's out of form at the moment. Whether his legs have gone completely is another thing. He's certainly a shadow of the player that he once was. But sort of dallying on the ball that led to the St Mirren corner, and they managed to nod the ball home.
I thought Tav was absolutely fine and having a decent game until he was moved to sort of right centre half when Aarons came on.
Yeah,
I actually thought Rangers just kind of lost their solidity. They didn't look like they would lose a goal with Big John Souttar in there. I know, he's not played any football, so 75 minutes or 70 minutes, whatever he got, was probably a good return. And you can't just throw someone on for 90 minutes when they've been out injured, and the chances are, they're getting into that red zone where the recurrence is likely. So. But it was pronounced, Derek, and that's one of the things I would say. Actually, all across the team, you looked at the substitutes and you thought, maybe not the quality, not quite there. I thought Conor Barron came on, obviously added what we know he added, what he can add. But you look at Danilo up there, Derek. I mean, Danilo just, for me, lovely guy. Clearly got a lot of enthusiasm. A phenomenal goal against Hibs, but. I just don't really see what he's bringing to the kind of Danny Rule style. I don't think he's delivered when he's been on the pitch, and I think that's a problem. I think the back three, they just looked a little bit unsure of themselves after those changes, and I thought that Souttar had done well, had a really good game, and Fernandes, as I've talked about, has got something there. He can be a bit lax and he can be a bit sloppy, but there's definitely a player there. I just think tonight was maybe one of those games where it's a bit of a message for Andrew Kavanagh about, go out and get some quality to add to this team that will really, really strengthen the starting 11 or the starting 14 if you're including the subs, and maybe tonight was an example of where Rangers, it drops off a bit when you're not having the best guys in there. So. But we know that, and this is nothing new, really. I mean, it's been obvious from the kind of season that it's been had up until now that Rangers aren't quite where they need to be in terms of the squad. But
again,
the manager, once again, you just have to give him massive praise, Derek. The points per game total for Danny Rule now is pretty impressive, and it's interesting that Rangers have gone for a foreign manager to deliver a total kind of pragmatic game-by-game philosophy where it's just about getting over the line and 2 goals from crosses into the box. It's like what you would expect from, say, a Derek McInnes team or something like that. So credit to Danny Rule, because this is probably not the kind of football that he would ideally want Rangers to play. But rather than come in with grand ideas, he's come in and he's done what he can with the players that he has. Yeah, and that's something that I think we all thought was needed. So you have to say the manager has done a terrific job so far.
Yeah, some of the combination play I thought tonight was pretty decent, and fair play to Rangers for that. The point from MHB 77 says Raskin looked better without Barron. Of course, Barron coming off at the bench tonight, and for those of you that were wondering where Dujon Sterling was, he was out of the squad tonight, rested, because he obviously has just come back from injury. They don't want to burn him out, but I'd imagine that he'll be in contention for the weekend. I would be starting him at Parkhead. I think that's a given. Whether he plays is another matter. I thought John Souttar came in tonight. He looks much leaner, John Souttar. Looks like he's lost a wee bit of weight, but I thought he was good tonight. He certainly made Rangers.
I'm in no position to comment on another man's weight, so I'm just going to sit this one out, Derek.
And another comment there for Fernandes. We had praised him earlier on, but it says need more praise for Fernandes. Big man has come on leaps and bounds. Actually, before his goal, I thought he was, you touched on it earlier, Jonny, he was a wee bit loose in possession, giving the ball away at times, but I like him, I've got to say. Looks like
four goals, Derek.
Can't complain with that. Yeah, certainly from balls into the box. He seems to be a bit of a cheat code, big Fernandez. So he's going to be a big weapon for Rangers at Parkhead on Saturday. But before you go, Jonny, I mean, how do you see that going? That is huge now. Now, Rangers in these big matches, there is an argument that they often come out second best. We've seen the League Cup semi-final. They gave it a Hearts recently as well. This would be a real feather in the cap if Daniel can get the best of the Celtic in this game.
Listen, I'm looking forward to catching that game and just seeing where Celtic were weak. It sounded like time and time again, the quick wingers of Motherwell were getting in behind and creating absolute chaos. Yeah. It's a huge game for Gassama from that point of view, Derek. But, you know, Celtic under Wilfred Nancy, I mean, you just don't really know what to expect. It's been kind of chaos, isn't it? They play this system with three at the back, but it's really one at the back because the two centre-backs, it's a right back and a left back, and he wants to play this sort of hybrid system where they're pushing on. It's ambitious, put it that way.
Yeah.
What Danny Rule will do is he will go through the tapes and he will go through them fastidiously and look at how teams have been getting joy against them. And I would imagine you might see a slightly adapted style for the game. That's one thing that he's done, hasn't he? He's changed it up. He's gone from three at the back to four at the back, and game by game has changed it. You never really know exactly how he's going to approach the game. Mostly if it's a front two, he'll go to a back three. If it's one up top, he'll play with the two. But he might spring a surprise against Celtic. Don't think that's beyond this coach at all. But look, this is the weakest Celtic team that I can remember, Derek. I wouldn't say in my lifetime because I don't really remember what happened before 1986 or 1987. But in terms of just on paper, there has not been a weaker Celtic team. And they need major work. Now, Rangers need major work too. But
yeah, exactly.
The opportunity is there. This title, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, it will be won and lost in this transfer window. So, you know, major focus on what Danny Rule is asking for, major focus on Dan Purdy, and all of a sudden, you know, a main character in this situation becomes Stig Inge Bjornaby, you know, a player from our youth, Derek. Who'd have thought that he could come back and be the man that could revolutionise a transfer window that could take Rangers to a 56th title? But everything is possible, and everything is possible because of another gritty win, yet another gritty win.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line for me. The difference between the idealist, Rangers has no place for an ideologue, and the pragmatist, Danny Rule, who's come in, who's looked at what he's got. He's not coming with grand ideas about playing scintillating tiki-taka football. He's come in and said, what players do I have? And he's used that to assess what he can do in this league. And you know what? It's been really impressive.
Yep. And long may it continue. All roads now lead to Parkhead on Saturday. We'll have all your usual coverage, folks, pre-match and post-match for that game. Very much looking forward to it. Tomorrow, Chris will be joining me. He's down in the press room at Ibrox, speaking to Danny Rule and whatever player is put up. So it will be interesting to hear what he has to say. Keep your eyes peeled on the YouTube channel, folks. That'll be with you shortly. But we'll let Jonny go before he freezes to death. The comment actually came in from Quiet Fix. He says, Jonny looks bolted. He'll never leave the house again.
Nah, it was great. It was great to be back at the football. Obviously, in my new change of role, I'm not at games as much, but it was great to be here. Good crack, great atmosphere in the ground, and I really, it wasn't a purist game by any means, but it was certainly entertaining and full of drama. So a great night, and hope everyone has a fantastic new year.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good new year, folks, if we don't speak to you. But we are on tomorrow for our Hugmanay show, so we can speak to you all then as we dissect the game even further. But it's been a very enjoyable evening, and Rangers back in, well, very much in the title race after a 2-1 win over St Mirren. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.